Hello everyone, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Joe, and today I'm going to tell you a story that's very special to me. It's the story of how I was able to find my father's Corvette that he had sold many years earlier, and I was able to buy it back. It's something I still can't believe happened, and I'm very grateful for it. So I just wanted to, come on here and tell you guys that story. It starts when I was very young. We used to go to car shows all the time, me and my father. We would always, on nice sunny days in Staten Island, New York, find ourselves at either the park or even just in shopping centers where there was car shows just everywhere. We would always go and we would check out all the cars. My dad was really into it. He would know every detail, what year it was, what kind of car it had, what motor it had. He was very passionate about it. He had never really worked on cars, but cars were something that he had always had a passion for. And so that kind of ignited that in me very young. I was also into cars, specifically Corvettes. We bonded over that. The Corvettes were just our favorites. Anytime we were at a car show, we would look for them, and it would just mean the world to us to see these cars and dream about owning them one day. So my dad never had the opportunity to own a Corvette for most of his life. So he just always dreamed about it. He always talked about wanting to get one. Until I was about 13, 14 years old back in 2009, and he was able to buy one. So my cousin at the time, he was in the auto industry, doing auto glass, and he had worked out some type of deal with somebody where he ended up getting a Corvette as part of that deal, and he ended up redoing the whole car, just every single thing on it, had the whole car painted, put new wheels on it, did everything it needed, brakes, everything, just interior work, everything, redid the whole car because it had been sitting. And he was putting this car together, and obviously my dad being into Corvettes, he, was watching him do it, and he kept bugging him. He kept saying, oh, sell me the car, I love that car, let me, let's make a deal. And, my cousin was excited about it also, so he's like, no, I want to keep it. Well, my dad just kept pestering him, he just wanted that car. And so my cousin, seeing how much he really was into the car, he ended up, eventually saying, you know what, I'm almost done with the car, I'll make a deal with you. So my dad was, ecstatic about it, finally getting this opportunity to have a Corvette. And so obviously I was excited too. So we, the car was finished, the car had just gotten painted, and we ended up picking the car up at my cousin's shop. And I remember that day, I had my little digital camera, and we were taking pictures of the car, my dad sitting in it, me standing next to it. And it was just a really exciting day for everybody involved, even my cousin, because he knew how much my dad loved the car. So it was something very special. So I remember, we got the car it was in the summertime, and we were driving around a lot in the car, and just going to shows. It was just a really great time. It was really awesome to be able to finally to be there. And so, he had the car for the summer, and eventually summer became fall, and my dad, he didn't have a house with a garage. So, and like I said, he wasn't very mechanically inclined. So the car was starting to need a little bit, of a couple of things here and there. My dad, knowing he didn't have the garage, he was starting to realize that the Corvette might not be, it wouldn't be feasible for him to keep it longer. So unfortunately, he made that tough decision, and he said, it would be better off if he would sell it before, the car just fell apart and he needed all that work that he wasn't able to commit to. So, I was upset hearing that he was going to sell it. I was a young kid. I didn't understand these things, about garages and keeping cars nice at the time. So, I was upset about it. He knew I was upset, but, it was something that he had to do and be responsible about. So, he took that, he wanted me to remember the car. So he took a video of me driving it up he had a long driveway in Staten Island. So he took a video of me driving it up and down the driveway. I didn't have my license at the time, but he knew it was important to me and it was special to me. So he did that for me. And I remembered as a kid, it was the first real time I was able to drive a car, and I was excited about that, and it was very special to me. So, we did that, we had that moment together, and then, we put the car up for sale. And I remember taking pictures with my camera, like some last pictures of it, because it was sad for me. I wanted to remember this car, this amazing car that that he had gotten. So he eventually, ended up selling the car, and, we still went to shows, we still, went and saw Corvettes, we still talked about it, but at that stage in his life, it wasn't feasible for him to have it. So, we moved on. And, time went by, and I actually ended up in high school a couple years later. Me and my stepfather ended up getting a C3 Corvette that we restored together, and that was very special to me. And so, I still had that drive to be around Corvettes, and I was grateful to still have that opportunity to have one, in the family. And so my dad, he loved that car too. When he saw it, he would always want to see the car. Can we take the cover off? Can we see it? So it was something we were all interested in, the family. So it was really nice. But yeah, so then time went on, and I graduated high school, went into college, and in college, I had an unfortunate, very very sad event. My dad was battling with depression. Nobody really realized the extent of it. And eventually he ended up taking his own life. So we lost him back in 2015. And it was very hard, it was very difficult. But, these things, in life, there's no words sometimes for them. But, time helped, time, went on. And so as I got older, we come around now to 2022, and I had an opportunity. Somebody sent me in a message an 85 Corvette for sale, and it was extremely good price. It was just like a couple of $1,000s. It didn't run, but it was in really nice shape. The body was in nice shape, and a friend of mine sent it to me, and I said, I've always wanted a Corvette, but I never had a ton of extra money to spend on it. So I saw this car was a really good deal. It was blue, and it reminded me of my dad's C4 Corvette, because it was also a C4. So all those memories started flooding back about when my dad had the blue Corvette. So I ended up going with a couple friends. We went up to Long Island, and we looked at the car, and the car was clean, the body was straight, but it needed a lot of work, a lot of TLC. So we talked to the guy, we were able to strike a deal, and we ended up picking that car up. And it just made me so happy to be able to get a car that looked like my father's car. It was, very similar. It was a C4 Corvette, only a couple of years earlier, so it looked very similar. It was blue, and it was definitely very, very cool. So I ended up redoing that car, and once I got it in December, I worked on it for a few months until the spring, and I got it show ready. I shined it all up, I redid the interior, I worked on the engine, got it running, and yeah, it was a great experience. And I finished that car, and I looked at it, and it reminded me of my dad so much and his car that I got a license plate. I don't know if you can see it behind me. It's called Legacy 4. So it was kind of like me continuing on the legacy, and it's a C4 Corvette. So it was kind of a mixture of that I made in that license plate. So I ended up putting that license plate on it. I got a nice decal for the back that had my dad's name on it in memory of my dad. And I ended up, going to a lot of shows with that car. I loved the car. Would drive it everywhere, and it was really, really awesome. And so I had that car in the summer, went to all the shows, and so June comes around in 2023, and now I go to the dentist and I get my wisdom teeth out, and I'm sitting on the front porch at my fiance's parents' house, and I'm sitting on the front porch and I can't talk because my wisdom teeth are out, and I have the gauze in my mouth. And I just, always in the back of my head was just wondering where my dad's Corvette was. It was something that I would always pop into my mind from year to year to year, how amazing it would be to find that car again. Didn't really think it would happen. I didn't have the VIN number. I knew it was kind of like a long shot. But I would always type in 1991 Corvette on Facebook Marketplace, on eBay, just to see. You never know, I was just figured I would scroll through. And so I'm sitting there with my mouth, after my wisdom teeth came out that morning. And I went on Facebook Marketplace and I said 1991 Corvette. And I'm scrolling, and my fiance sitting next to me, and I'm scrolling, and all of a sudden I see the side of a blue Corvette. And I'm like, that looks like my dad's Corvette. I'm like, but it's got different wheels on it. It's got the original wheels on it. I said, I don't know, it could be, but it's not the same exact car. But it did have the sticker in the window, the same Corvette decal that's in the back glass. So I saw that, so I said, I'll click on it. My dad's had that sticker. So I clicked on it, and I started swiping through the pictures, and I said, yeah, it looks like it. It's got stock wheels on it. The engine looks a little different. So I'm not sure, if this is the car. But I looked at the description, and it had such a crazy description, so descriptive, like very, very specific. It said that he had bought it from a guy, and that guy he bought it a year earlier from that guy, and the guy before him had bought it 13 years earlier from another guy. And so he said he had bought it, and in the 14 years that they had both owned it, they only put 3,000 miles on it. And the car currently had 101,000 miles on it. And so I said to myself, all right, so if he bought it 14 years ago, my dad also sold this car about 15 or 14 years ago. I said, so it kind of lines up with that story. So I said, that's interesting. I said, I wonder if my dad's car had 98,000 miles on it, because now it had 101,000, and he said he had put 3,000 miles on it. So I said, let me go back in the pictures of when my dad sold the car that I took on my little digital camera that day, and let me see if the mileage was the same as 98,000 miles. And I obviously found those pictures because I had the other C4 Corvette, the 85, and I was trying to relive that nostalgia, so I was looking for those original pictures. I ended up finding that memory card buried in my brother's house in a storage container all the way at the bottom, the little memory card, and it had all the pictures of me and my dad in the 91 C4 Corvette. And so I looked back, and I had those pictures, so I said, let me look. And I looked, and I went through all of them, and I found one picture it had of the speedometer and the gauge cluster, and I looked, and it said 98,000 miles. I couldn't believe it. I said, wow, it's got 98,000 miles. It's exactly the same amount of miles as my dad. I said, I'm going to message this guy. What are the odds that this car has the exact same miles as when my dad sold it? So I messaged the guy, I said, hey, I'm not sure, but, it's possible that this could be my late father's Corvette. Is there any chance you bought it from him, or you knew who had bought it from him, and, or any other, information on it? And he said, wow, that'd be amazing. He said, well, I do have a picture of when I bought it. It had different wheels on it, and I'll send you the picture. And I said, yeah, definitely send me the picture. He sent me the picture, and I had the same chrome C601 wheels that my dad had on the car. And I looked at it and I go, wow, oh my God, that looks exactly like the car. And I said, I really think that's the car. It's got the same wheels on it, and it looks exactly the same. And he said, yeah, so many years have gone by, the chrome was pitted, so I ended up taking them off and I redid the car. He said, well, I really hope it's your dad's car. If you're interested in it, let me know. And I said, yeah, I am interested in it. Even though I had, no way of really buying the car, because I had just bought this other Corvette, and I couldn't have two Corvettes. So I was like, yeah, I'll come check it out without a doubt. As soon as I can talk after my gauze comes out, I'll come check it out. And as I'm texting this guy and all those messages, my fiance sees me and she's like, what's going on? Why you look like you're crying? Like, what's going on? And I said, I think I'm trying to say I found my dad's Corvette. I can't believe it, And I'm showing her, and she just jaw dropped, was like, wow, you have to buy this car. And I was like, yeah, I think I do. I guess I have to, I have to figure this out now. So I ended up going down there to Staten Island and checking the car out. And I brought my cousin with me because he's the one that originally sold it to my father, and he saw the car immediately, and he said, yeah, that's the car, that's the car. And I said, wow, I couldn't believe it. So I ended up striking a deal with the guy, and I was able to buy it back. And I just couldn't believe that after all these years, I was able to just stumble across it. and it was just the most amazing thing. And so I ended up selling my other car eventually to a friend of mine, and now I have my dad's 91 Corvette, the exact same car that he had 15 years ago. It's unbelievable to have. I ended up doing a VIN search just to make sure the VIN numbers and everything were right, and it was exactly the same car. So with the Carfax and everything, it's legitimately the car, and it's incredible to me that it came back to me this way. It's super special. I was working on one day and I ended up taking the door panel off, and underneath the door panel was my cousin's auto glass company. Somebody had wrote on the door panel on the inside that they were in there, you know, like they put the company name and stuff, and it made it all that more real. And so it was really, really an amazing thing. And I'm just so grateful to have it back. You know, I know people go years trying to find cars with VIN numbers and doing VIN searches, you know, and I just got so incredibly lucky to just be able to find this car. It was so special, such a special thing. You know, and so, yeah, I put a special license plate on the back of it. My dad's nickname was the Midnight Rambler, so I put Rambler 54. That was the year he was born. So I got the custom license plate on there. I put a sticker on the back, and you know, and yeah, I bring it to shows, and I've won a bunch of trophies with it that I have over here on the table, and it's just been an awesome experience, and it'll be with me forever. You know, I still have some things that I want to do to this car. I just got a 6-speed manual donor car for it. So I'll be taking the automatic transmission out of this one soon and swapping it in a manual 6-speed. So I'm excited about that. I'll make some videos so you guys can see the process and how that all went. And yeah, there's a bunch of other stuff I want to do to it, so I'll definitely keep you guys in the loop. I want to leave off with this. You know, I have a sticker on the back of this car, on the back window. It says, "This world is a better place with you in it." And that's the truth. You know, it has the 988 number, the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. You know, mental health is a real issue that plagues a lot of people. You know, it may not directly affect you, but it directly affects a lot of the people that you interact with on a day-to-day basis. So, you know, it's important to take the time out of your day to ask people, "Hey, how you doing? How's it going?" You know, and show that you care about their lives, you know, and just give a lend an ear, you know. Be available for people. It's something that I'm working on, trying to get better with every day. You know, I want to be more active in that community, in mental health. You know, I want to do my part. It's something I'm trying to get better with, you know, so because it directly affected me with my father, and you know, it's an ongoing thing in this country, across the world. It affects a lot of people, so something to think about. I appreciate you guys listening to this, and I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed telling the story, and so yeah, we'll see you on the next one. I appreciate it. Stay safe, and see you guys soon.